I made $10,000 in an hour. But I learned money, especially real money, is quiet. It's easy to get some money, have a 2-year, 3-year run. But I don't know anyone that's had money for 10, 20, 30 years that wasn't like that.
We have to act as if what we say was going to happen is going to happen. And we have to get out of this mindset that everything's just, and this will be therapy right quick. So I literally posted on my page something like, so I'm a CPA for 13 years, right? Like I'm vetted. I posted a strategy on my Instagram yesterday just about how crypto currently is not seen as, it's seen as property.
It's not seen as a security.
It's not seen as security right now. It's seen as property, which means with securities, if you were to sell your security, like a stock today, say you buy Apple and sell it today, you can't buy that Apple stock back for 30 days. It's called the watch sale rule. So because they don't want you locking in the loss and just buying it back again. Right. Crypto, right, currently we have an opportunity because it's still seen as property. We can sell it, lock in a loss, and buy it back the next day to get back in the market. And you can have that loss in a bucket. So if I sell real estate down the line, I can use that loss to offset any gains or for any other asset I sell. We have it's a small opportunity. They're gonna take this way soon, but it's a small opportunity. And I posted on my page, all of the people that don't look like me are in the comments saying, bro, thank you so much for this strategy. I'm gonna implement this, boom, boom. And then black people are just like, scam, can't do that, boom, boom. I'm like, why do we feel like if something is too good to be true, that it can't work for us?
Yeah.
And my only answer to that is if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them.
It's a fact.
That's a bar, bro.
That's a fact.
And this is 2026 now. Like,
yeah.
Imagine 2018 when I was telling people, they like, man, you following that scam? I'm going to work. And this one I learned that when you're doing good for yourself, if you work a job, you keep that to yourself. You do not go to work throwing off. You don't drive a new car to the parking lot. Yeah, or talk to everybody. Hey, do y'all know I made some money? You shut up. Yeah. Play humble. You play a little like you're not really aware of too many things because that's how you stay out of trouble. A lot of these jobs, they I don't want to make it seem like they jealous of envy, but it's just when they know you, they peer, you make the same amount of money in them. When they see you may be doing a little better now, you know something different. Yeah. Most people don't want you to do just as good as they don't want you to do better than them.
Only people that want you to do better than them are the people that's doing better than you.
Facts. And they on that same level, they want you to stay there. So I tell people all the time, when you at corporation job, you chill. You're going to the office. Hey, y'all know y'all can invest in this, right? Don't say any of that. Because I remember telling my coworkers, like, just excited. I'm making hella money in crypto. I remember being in a meeting, my phone blowing up. People just hit, because all these people I've been telling to invest in crypto, they finally, this is when Bitcoin first hit $20,000. So my phone is blowing up. I'm like, I'm in a meeting. I can't even pull my phone out in the military meeting. So I'm going to go to the bathroom. I leave. People, I made $10,000 in an hour.
In that meeting, you sat down, you made $10,000 while you were sitting in the meeting.
While I'm sitting in the meeting. So now I'm not thinking about the meeting. I'm in the meeting.
Lower your tone.
Now I get out of here with that. After the meeting, I'm telling my coworker, and I could just, he was an older guy. He was like in his 50s.
Yeah.
I'm like 24 at this time.
Yeah.
He just downed me like, man, you gonna be broke. It's a scam. And I was like, whoa.
It's going to zero. It ain't nasty.
I'm like, I'm trying to tell you need to look into it. But I learned, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
you doing certain things. You just need to keep this. Oftentimes, especially in our culture, a lot of us, we never really had a lot of money before. So when we get it, we have good intentions. Right. It's not a negative thing. We want to like, yo, I'm trying to put you on. We start talking a little bit too much. But I learned money, especially real money, is quiet. It's not, you don't have to tell everybody like, yo, this is what I'm doing, because it breeds too much BS. It's more negative than positive that's gonna come from it. So it's a lot of value in just, I don't want to say be low key, but you could tell who want to be told. I'll leave it at that. Like the people that want to learn, that want to know.
When the student's ready, the teacher will appear.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? They go act, they go quiet, man. I see you. Like they gonna see it on you. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You can't hide it. You trying your hardest to hide it, but you can't hide it. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes it's good to hide it.
For sure. You can try at least.
Yeah.
What's up, YouTube family? Thanks so much for watching the show. I hope you are enjoying this episode, but if you are watching this, there's actually a 70% chance that you're not subscribed to the channel, and that's okay. We appreciate you for watching and listening. However, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscriber button, it'll let YouTube know that other people are interested in the show so that we can further spread the message of money.
And if you're ready to start learning how to build wealth and save on taxes, we highly recommend you join our Multiply Your Money Challenge. This is a 5-day virtual event where both me and George are going to be teaching you the advanced tax and investing strategies of the 1%. And we highly recommend that you grab a VIP ticket because both me and George are going to be answering your personal financial and tax questions. That link can be found in the show notes below. Can't wait to see you there.
Peace. So when you think about, because you've interviewed, how many guests have you interviewed on your show?
Over 200.
Over 200.
Yeah.
What would you say are the top 2 to 3 principles of a highly successful person that you've gleaned after all the people that you've interviewed, all the data you synthesized? Like, what are the top 2 to 3 like trends or consistencies that you've seen of like, yo, if you do that, you probably gonna win in life?
I love that question, bro. I would say number 1 is focus. And I've seen it so much. I'm wondering, like, I wonder, is this innate or is this something that could be taught? Because it seems like a lot of people, when you dive into their personal life, their history, it was like, oh, you always had this to some degree, even though you might not had money and things like that.
Yeah.
But I would say number 1 is focus. Number 2 is there's a at least from all the people that I've interviewed, there's a sense of behavior that they had before they had any success. What I mean by that is they carry, a lot of people call it fake it till you make it or whatever you want to call it, but they carry themselves a certain way. They was already walking in that space mentally. Like, I know a guy that's a billionaire. He was telling me how before he was a billionaire, and it's hard for people to grasp this concept a lot of times, but he talked about how he carried himself a certain way. He had a certain energy. He dressed a certain way. He told me you got to dress how you want to be addressed. He told me you got to earn the right to wear what you want. And that hit a lot of people.
You got to dress the way you want to be addressed.
He said you got to, and you have to earn the right to dress how you want to dress.
Earn the rights.
He was like, I earned it. He was like, when you see me in slacks, sweats out, I earned the right to dress like this because I already accomplished something. So people not just looking at me and judging me off my appearance no more.
Right.
He's like, but when you coming up, you need every slight of competitive advantage you can get. And what's the first thing people see when they see you?
How you look, what you got on.
How you look, what you got on. So carrying yourself, I would say focus is number 1. The way you carry yourself is number 2. And lastly, I would say, not to be cliche or anything like that, but mindset is, that's a part of it too. But I'm gonna come from a different angle with the last one. I would say a ruthlessness. There's a ruthlessness and a relentlessness that ultra successful people have. And what I mean by that is whatever is not serving them, they don't have a damn what it is, they will cut it off. It could be friends, it could be family, it could be environment, it could be a spouse. And I'm not saying that's all good.
Yeah.
But there is a ruthlessness that all ultra successful people have. It don't matter what. They not scared to say, you know what, this not serving me no more, or this not working. You gotta go, or this gotta go. Everything gotta go.
But it kind of ties back to your point at the beginning, not to, drag back the military folks that was crashing out, but like the goal was the goal.
Yes.
If you're not helping this goal be accomplished, you have to go.
You have to go.
Period.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
It's that simple. And I read this book called 3 Feet from Gold. And it's a book that, about all the successful people's story, how they didn't quit 3 feet from gold. But a lot of the principles that you just said are in that book. Like, they have this principle that says act as if. We have to act as if what we say was going to happen is going to happen.
Right.
Jerry Jones in a documentary, he was losing, I think, $1 million a month when he bought the Cowboys. But he didn't let nobody know that. He acted as if the franchise was doing amazing.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's a difference between acting as if and faking it till you make it.
Right. Right.
There's a different. I don't know how to communicate that difference, but
yeah, I think it's the belief. It's like it's the belief that you have in the outcome versus like faking it till you make it. It's like you don't really like you don't know if it's gonna work out. You know what I'm saying? No, you don't know. It's like the belief in that he could tell you. It's like I can, if I have a vision for something, and I see it as if it's right here, right? It doesn't matter if it's 3 months away, 6 months away. Like my belief is, so I'm acting as if I can see it, right? Exactly, I can see it, right? That's hard for people to understand. But it's like if you get convicted about something, and you can see it clearly, even if it's not there tangibly, you got to act as if it was, because you literally can see it. Anything that you can conceptualize in your mind, you can manifest in the real life, and you gotta have the actions that line up with that, and you'll be able to have it.
And I got one more too. This is gonna be a fourth one. And I think this is something that a lot of people don't speak on when it comes to business and trying to be whatever it is you want to be. Is you cannot be soft. And what I mean by that is, I don't know an ultra successful person that's a pushover or what you would call a punk. And I don't think you have to be willing to get physical and fight somebody, but you can. Business is cutthroat. It's every angle you might have somebody trying to get over on you slightly. Well, it could be anything. It could be somebody that you're trying to work with. It could be somebody trying to do some work for, whatever the case may be. Especially when you doing things contractually, people would try to slide something in. They would try to F you over in a lot of instances, especially if you're making money, good money. So you have to be willing to see that. You got to be smart enough to see certain things and be able to get on top of it immediately. You got to be able to address problems. If you somebody that's kind of passive, you don't like problems, you don't like addressing problems, you probably gonna struggle in business. At least you probably will never hit those high level numbers, just because there's a lot of different things. I'm pretty sure y'all been through things where you feel like somebody's trying to finesse you.
Oh yeah, we just talked about that the other day. Let's check a payroll. Like, why am I charging this more than?
And a lot of times it's not even like overt. It's just like small things you could have not seen that somebody might have slightly tried you with. But if that happens over and over, you start losing money, and you're never gonna get to where you're trying to get to.
It's like Nipsey Hussle said. He's like, I don't want $1 more than I'm owed, but I don't want $1 less. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, period.
And my first mentor, he was a 7-figure clothing owner in Chicago. This when I was young, 18. I remember him telling me, I talked about this on Instagram. He was like, man, the most successful people is the most gangster. And I remember at the time, I'm like, what? Because I'm thinking he's talking about streetwise.
Yeah.
I'm like, what you mean by that?
Yeah.
But as I got older, I realized he's not even talking about the streets. He mean like the mentality they have is they not about to let nobody F them over. They're going to make an example out of anybody that's trying to F them over. Because they have to be willing to go there as a business. They take food out of your mouth, which takes food out of your kids, family mouth, all that stuff. So you have to be willing to straighten things out.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I've realized, that most, or not, if not all, ultra successful people, they have that in common. They don't play when it comes to their money, their business, their reputation, their brand.
What's that quote Alex Rosie said about tough conversations?
Your biggest lever for growth in your business is on the other side of tough conversations, and your unwillingness to have them is making you poorer than you should be.
That's a bar. Yeah. That's real. I don't know anybody that's had money for. I think it's impossible to have money for 10. It's easy to get some money, have a 2-year, 3-year run. But I don't know anyone that's had money for 10, 20, 30 years that wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard, man. You got so many people just trying to take what you got.
It's almost like back when we was in school, and you had one a professor give you a test and homework, another one. It's like, damn, y'all don't talk to each other. Like everybody giving me a test, and it's the same thing when people got their hand out for your money. It's like, they thinking they just asking you for $100 or $200, but it's 100 of y'all. So everybody got their hand out. And if you're unwilling to like be real about like, nah, like I can't do this, then you'll go broke. You know what I'm saying?
How many people have came to y'all in the last few years of business opportunities?
No,
I got this play.
Last few weeks.
They said not even years.
Last few weeks. You hear me?
And a lot of times it may be good intent. It only takes one. I remember I lost $100,000. So, and this is I want to touch on this. This is the thing about money when you getting it. It's like, and this is a tough conversation that people don't like to have either. The people that you got to watch the most are the ones that have access to you. That's what,
right?
Yeah,
because those are the ones that you trust.
Yeah. Literally, I'm experiencing this in real time. I just had to fire my nanny, my house manager, because I caught her stealing from me. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, last week.
House manager.
Yeah, I had to fire her because I caught her stealing from me.
How did you catch her?
The crazy part was something simple. So like I had been noticing some things were missing, but I couldn't.
She's stealing like your items.
Well, she was, but I didn't. But
He didn't catch that.
I didn't catch that at first, right? I was like, it was missing, but I couldn't put it on her because I got contractors in the house making updates, renovations. All I don't know who's doing that, but she orders my groceries, and so I order it through an app, right, through Sprouts, and so I can see everything that that gets ordered. And so one day she went to go get my son, and then I put up the groceries because she wasn't there. And I saw some ingredients. I was like, man, I wouldn't have never asked for this, but I didn't really think nothing of it. I was like, maybe she wanted to try something, wanted to make a new dish or something. The next morning, I noticed the same things I put away were gone. The things that I don't normally buy. So then I asked her, I was like, why? I was like, I put these groceries away.
Tough conversations.
Right. I put these groceries away. I know they were here. It wasn't no mistake. Like, oh, they canceled it from the order. No, I put them away and they're no longer here. Can you help me understand what happened? She's like, well, yeah, I just didn't think you would mind. I just picked up, added a few things to the grocery list and blah, blah, blah. Fired.
Immediately.
You get out of here.
Immediately.
Congratulations, you placed yourself.
Imagine how long she's been doing that too.
Oh, for sure. I already know. I mean, and now I was able to connect the dots on some other things. I was like, I got this little cash box. It's just like petty cash if like the long guy comes,
Right.
whatever, or she go takes my son to like a little play place or something. She's the only person who knew where it was because she would ask me for cash before she left. I remember one day I was going to get some money. I was like, I feel a little light. I was like, if I wasn't keeping track, I wasn't keeping a ledger of it. It's just petty cash. So now I was able to go back and backtrack all the things, but I didn't even try to recoup that because maybe I should, but I was like, it's costing me more mental bandwidth. Yeah. I just need to let you go. And put all my energy into solving the problem, and everybody will sign an agreement. There's cameras in here. Look, you play yourself if you want to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so people who have access, those are the ones, bro.
Those are the ones.
Those are the ones, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See?
All right. As we this is an amazing episode, by the way.
Yeah.
This is an amazing episode. As we round out today's episode, one question we always ask our guests is, our show is the Melanin Money Show. Our goal is to create 100,000 millionaires of color. So decreasing the wealth gap by $100 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so our question to you is, what does being a melanin millionaire mean to you, and why is this significant?
Man, to me, it means a lot, and not just the money, because it's money.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm a believer, so I believe in stewardship. I believe in taking care of your family, taking care of your kids, and biblically, we are commanded to do so. So being in a position where I can do so, just spiritually, that means everything to me.
Mm-hmm.
And just for those that, because I know a lot of men, they as a man being in business or whatever, striving, you may experience ups and downs.
You will.
You will. Ain't no right. Ain't no may.
Yeah.
You will. And it may be points where you feel like I can't be that best provider.
Mm-hmm.
But I want them to know at the end of the day, you still a man, and you can always bounce back. You can always do better than you ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's ebbs and flow when it comes to this. So first, that's what it means to me, just as a believer, just knowing that I'm doing what I'm commanded to do. That's extremely important. And secondly, what's the second part?
This is why is it significant? Yeah.
Oh, it's extremely significant just because we have to, in some capacity, try to close this wealth gap.
Mm-hmm.
And me being an example, having a brain where I could be an example for so many others, I think it's extremely important, man. Like we have to, to the best of our ability, attempt. Even if we don't end up doing it, we can say we tried to do it.
Yeah.
So that's why that's so important to me and so big, being in a position like that.